It's Subverted Tropes, a podcast about movies, featuring your hosts Daniel Spencer and Kate Harlow. Welcome to another episode of Subverted Tropes. I'm Dan.
I'm Kate.
And with us today, we've got one of the busiest people in the podcasting world that I'm aware of. It is Colin Parker.
Hello.
Colin, how are you doing?
I'm doing pretty darn good. This entire day has just been podcasting for me, so you weren't wrong. Whole lot of editing and whole lot of recording going on.
Very nice, very nice. Not terribly different from mine. I had a couple of podcasts I was editing this morning, and then, of course, gearing up for this today. So, Colin, why don't you tell our listeners a little bit about yourself?
Okay, I am Colin Parker. I am a moderator on the Facebook group Bim Bambino Podcasters, which is a podcasting group for fans of My Brother, and Me, and that's how we met. And that is how I essentially got my start in podcasting, truthfully. I mean, like, I've had a bunch of failed podcasts that never got past like an episode or two. And then Alex Taylor and I started a show called Journey Under 30, which is about making your mark on this world under the age of 30. And it focuses a lot on like the Forbes 30 under 30 list, which I would like to be on, which I only have 2 years to do it in. So it's like, it's kind of go time. And sort of after that, because of this Facebook group, we just sort of started meeting other people. And so we started a network, which is called the Scavengers Network. And we have all sorts of shows like Spooky Spouses, Academy Outcast, Historical Hotties, State Your Case, Journey Under 30, The Bad Pen Pal, EQ&A, and the newest show, Myth Takes.
Indeed, it's quite a list, and fans of the podcast will recognize Spooky Spouses from our most recent episode before this one with Lindsay and Jordan, and then a few weeks ago when we recorded with the Historical Hotties sisters, Whitney and Lindsay. I am a huge fan of everything that the network puts out, particularly Myth Takes is one of my new absolute favorite shows.
Thank you so much. Yeah, like literally we just about an hour ago finished up, an hour before we recorded this, we finished up taping two of the next episodes of Myth Takes, which I love doing that project. My only complaint about having a like narrative and story-based show is that I can't tell people things until something comes out. Mm-hmm. Or same with like if I write something really cool, I'm like, oh my gosh, this outline for this thing is gonna be great, but I can't then go like text Morgan and be like, okay, so this thing's gonna happen because then that also forces the story that way. I like when like they pushed me like way out of where I was gonna go twice today already. So I enjoy that sort of thing because then we all have to improvise. But it's such a great show, and if you're a fan of the Adventure Zone, especially the Adventure Zone Amnesty, then I think you'll like Myth Takes, because that's definitely what inspired that show.
Yes, I completely agree that if you're a fan of Amnesty, you're going to love Myth Takes. It's got just a great level of weird, creepy mystery going on, but like a great combination of comedy as well. It's top notch.
Thank you.
Let's go ahead and jump into the meat of, what we're here to do.
Sure.
So, Colin, you picked our movie for us today. Will you tell us what you picked and why you picked it?
Absolutely. Okay, so I picked 21 Jump Street. It was, this is going to sound very strange. It was very hard for me to pick between 21 and 22 Jump Street. These were almost immediately on the top of my list when you asked me to be on the show. I mean, I had like a whole list of like different genres and all this other thing. And the thing is, I just kept coming back to this movie because fewer movies have made an impact on like my personal identity as a movie like this has. This is almost embarrassing. I saw 21 Jump Street in theaters 8 times. Though I only paid to see it 4 times. I got in twice on like free movie passes that like I just from random people had received. Once because my friend worked at a movie theater, he took me to see it. And then the other time was, honestly, we bought a ticket to one movie. And this is back before seating was like assigned. Mm-hmm. So we saw one movie and then we were just like, hey, 21 Jump Street starts in like 10 minutes. And we were like, yeah. And so we just snuck over. Sorry, AMC
Legal.
Columbia. Yeah.
You're
Oh,
busted.
man. This actually,
Busted.
this whole podcast and the podcasting group and everything has been a sting for this exact moment. You're under
I'm a
arrest.
cop, buddy. Yeah. It's like, you're going to jail. It's been a 21 Jump Street style undercover operation.
Exactly.
We're not even really a couple.
I picked this movie because it's just so, I mean, God, I just think it's unbelievably funny. And, you know, nowadays it's a little harder, I think, to sort of place it. But when I was younger, people used to say that I looked like Jonah Hill because when I was younger, we were both sort of heavier set guys with afros and couldn't grow any facial hair. Like neither of us could back then. So we were just these baby faced guys. And I mean, kids in my school wouldn't know me, but they would go, "Hey, yo, Jonah Hill." And I'd just be like, oh, God damn it. Yeah, what's up? Or they'll call me Superbad or something. And Superbad's an okay movie. It's not amazing. I feel like it gets too much credit, but 21 Jump Street is just a movie that has comedy from start to finish, but also has character development, has some real serious moments. And, you know, there's a lesson to be learned. I mean, there's just so much in there. It is a literal buddy cop film. And it just features two characters who are so drastically different and yet very much the same all at once. And I think that's all of those elements combined to me make a really great movie. It's one of the few movies that I would give like a perfect rating to.
All right. Nice. Well, I have not seen this, so I am very excited
I haven't either.
to watch this movie.
Yeah, you're in for a treat.
I'm very marginally familiar with the TV show
Okay.
from the 80s. But that's pretty much the extent of the knowledge that I had before I started doing some research.
You want to hit us with that research?
Let's get into that research. So, in 2008, Columbia Pictures announced that they would be doing a film adaptation of the late 80s TV show, 21 Jump Street, starring Johnny Depp. The TV show, not the...
I was going to say,
movie.
that sounds like a very different project, and I don't know how they would pull it off.
That would be, yeah.
Johnny Depp as a high schooler again.
Oh,
Wah, wah.
Maybe as a teacher.
Oh.
Could be.
Yeah. Because then you get access to the teacher's lounge and everything.
Right. And who doesn't love the teacher's lounge?
Is that where they keep all their coffee?
To be honest with you,
mugs?
I've actually never been in a teacher's lounge, so I really don't even know
Really?
what it's actually like. It's always been a mystery to me.
Kate, have you ever been in a teacher's lounge?
I literally don't think I even know where the teacher's lounge in my high school is.
I don't think my high school had a teacher's lounge.
That might be the case with my high school as well.
I know it had, like, there was, because we had two buildings. We had the West Building and the East Building. There were offices in both buildings. And, like, the West office was just, like, the main office and where you went if, like, a parent dropped something off for you to go pick up or whatever. The East office was where you went when you were in trouble.
Ha!
So...
And was there any kind of beef between these two buildings?
Yeah, I think there was.
Only at homecoming.
At homecoming, there, but, you know, the whole Jets Sharks snapping down the...
Right, that's what I was thinking. You know, because
Yeah.
usually East Side versus West Side is all a classic story.
Yeah.
You
There was
know?
a breezeway that connected the two, and there were so many fights in that breezeway, namely just over, you know, people yelling about which building was better. But yeah, I think the teachers just hid in the East office instead of having like a lounge. I think that's probably where they hung out.
Makes sense.
Yeah. Anyway, so the show and the movie tells the story of undercover police who are going to high school to catch criminals doing assorted chicanery, bad things. So I don't know how to pronounce his last name. I think it's Gazam, or I really hope it's not Gazam. Gazzam. Joe Gazam wrote the original script for the movie. And then Jonah Hill was brought on as executive producer and was like, okay, we're gonna make some tweaks to this, and I'm gonna just go ahead and cast myself in this bad boy.
Right.
Which is hilarious to me. I just love the idea of like, yeah, I'll produce. And I'll kind of write the script a little bit, and I'll I'll star in it myself. Which really happens, I guess, a lot in Hollywood now that I think about it.
Right.
Yeah.
But I don't know. There's just something, I guess, with Jonah Hill doing it. But where was I? So he wanted a different director for the movie. So the directors they went with were Phil Lord and Christopher Miller, who are heavily involved with. They made Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs, which was a movie that I was very much impressed with. Well, I guess it exceeded my expectations, I should say. Mm-hmm. They did the Lego Movie. They did
Hell yeah.
Clone High. Mm-hmm. Just some really great stuff, which makes me excited for the potential of this movie because I love pretty much everything that those two touch.
That's a good list of things.
Yes. Mm-hmm. But Jonah Hill wanted Rob Zombie to direct, which is just hard.
I'm not sure what that's about.
Yeah, I can't imagine Rob Zombie directing a comedy.
Yeah. I don't understand.
I think the last Rob Zombie movie that I saw was Halloween 2, when he was trying to remake that franchise. Mm-hmm. I saw that in theaters on a date. We just said, we had dinner nearby, and then we're just going to go see what the next movie showing is, and it was Halloween 2, and oh boy. Oh, that was
not great.
A pile.
So it didn't work out.
It did not work out. No.
Okay. So you're available, is what you're saying.
I am available. Yes. Are you interested?
I am.
Colin, are you
what?
interested?
Yeah. What is your Friday looking like?
This Friday. Oh, you know what? I'm actually traveling this Friday. I'm sorry.
Oh shit. Okay. Well, we'll get him next time.
Sounds good. So Jonah Hill said that he specifically wanted this movie to be an R-rated, insane John Hughes type movie.
Okay.
Which, I can see kind of the dissection of that he wants it to be those things combined, but with the way that it reads, it seems like he's saying R-rated, insane, and John Hughes type movies are already go hand in hand, which not quite the case.
It's like he had a bag full of descriptors and just pulled out 3 and put them together.
All right, so what adjectives are you throwing into the bag full of descriptors?
Noir.
I'm going to throw in a no holds barred.
Oh my god, it's like Mad Libs, but all of a sudden, it's this thing of all of a sudden, I'm name an adjective, to myself. Oh man, I am completely
out of adjectives,
dude. Pass. Come back to me.
Looks like you unpacked all your adjectives a little early.
Yeah, it's that thing again. I think it's that thing of I should be better at improv. But but just now you just threw something out at me that I wasn't expecting, and I was like, adjectives, corn, and you're like, that's not an adjective. And you're like, shit. You're like, damn it.
I mean, we'll take it.
Yeah, there you go.
Yep, this
no holds barred
noir
corn.
movie
no
set
holds
in Iowa.
No holds barred corn noir.
Yes. Oh.
It all takes place in a corn maze, and it's all in black and white.
Ooh. Okay, I'm actually on board with this.
I'm making it sound too good.
Children of the Noir.
Good. What was that?
Children of the Noir.
Oh, Children of the Noir.
Oh my god.
Perfect.
See, okay, so maybe I wasn't as bad at improv as I thought I was.
Exactly.
There we go.
And really, the whole key of improv is you just got to trust the people you're doing it with.
That's so true.
No matter, you can totally bungle everything, and as long as your team supports you, then it's all right.
For sure.
Jonah Hill went to Channing Tatum and said, "Hey, buddy, I want you to be in this movie with me because this is going to be a lot of fun." And Channing Tatum said, "No, I'm not going to do it."
They were friends before?
Apparently so, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so then continued the search, and they went back to Channing Tatum, and he again said, "Nope, this doesn't sound like a thing that I would like to do." And then the third time is when Jonah was like, "Look, buddy, just as a professional courtesy to me, will you please be in this movie?" And finally, he agreed to do it.
And I'm so glad, because the funny thing is that there are some movies where when you're done, you go, you know, like that was good, but I also feel like I could have seen this person or this person in this role. But like Channing Tatum and Jonah Hill is a duo that I feel like you don't normally expect, but it is such a great duo that now, after seeing that movie, I was like, who the hell would they have ever been able to put into that spot? I can't think of anyone.
Yeah. I'm very excited to see it. I think it is definitely a strange dichotomy, but I'm excited to see how it plays out.
Hell yeah.
Also, almost all of the cast members from the TV show have cameo appearances in this movie.
I love that.
That's very true.
So, do we want to go watch this movie?
Let's watch a movie.
All right, let's go watch this movie.
I'll bring the popcorn.
And we're back. That was a very fun movie.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I liked that.
It was.
There it is.
Yeah, I think you're right. What you were saying about.
I realize this is an audio format, but
it's great.
People can't tell. But I am doing that thing where you put your two hands together and you like do it like right over your shoulder, like that, like vindication hero, like, yes, hello, I am the strong man, or whatever. I don't know.
Where did that come from? I don't even understand the gesture.
But like, I hope that made a picture in people's minds. Otherwise, they're like, what is he doing? Churning butter? I don't know.
I mean, you could have been, I guess, churning butter, like.
What, like a shake weight?
Weird, yeah, shake weight butter churns.
Uh-huh. I'm going on Shark Tank.
That are horizontal. I don't know.
I'm not sure.
But it was, I think, a justified, victorious hand movement.
There you go.
That's, I believe, the name of it. The actual name of that is the justified, victorious hand movement.
I'm 100% putting a picture of Nixon doing the victory fingers on the
Hang on a
blog.
second. I'm just going to Google this real quick. Yep, that's exactly what it's called. Victorious. Yep, you nailed it.
Perfect. So yeah, the movie is set in metropolitan city.
Metropoliopolis?
Metropoliopolis!
Yeah. It's invisible.
So it's set in metropolitan city, though it was filmed actually in a suburb of New Orleans.
Oh.
Yes.
Which is super cool. And you went to school in New Orleans, is that right?
I did, yeah. I just graduated, just got back from there. And that's one of the movies that, like, sometimes when I would like be taking an Uber somewhere, whether it was because I knew I was going to be drinking or if it was because I was like, I'm not going to pay for the parking down there. Like sometimes, honestly, Ubering to and from certain areas of that city was less expensive than trying to park in certain areas. Mm-hmm. Just because there are some places where it's like if you park for 2 hours, it's like $23.
Jeez.
Yeah, it's pretty bad.
Boo.
I mean, that's in like obviously in some of the main areas that like I think people are going to understand. Like the French Quarter, like it's just going to be expensive to park there. Mm-hmm. Like if you don't get one of like the one free spots, like there's like 12 of them. If you don't get one of those 12 free spots, you're paying an arm and a leg. But, we would talk frequently about, because, I was doing filmmaking down there. Mm-hmm. And they're really trying hard to get more films to do things in New Orleans again. It used to be a huge film city because New Orleans is amazing for films because you can find almost any sort of setting you want basically in like a 10-mile radius. It is a big city, but it's very small for a big city. And so, you can have these dilapidated houses. You can have a corporate world area. You could have a hipster artisanal street. You can have like fancy little coffee shops, but then you can have, high overpriced coffee shops and restaurants. And I mean, again, like any type of setting that you could possibly want to find, you can find in New Orleans. And Atlanta started doing major like tax breaks that New Orleans really couldn't afford to match because they need that business to come in to help the state out. But they can't give so much of a tax break that then it's not helpful. But they're trying so hard to get people to come back because, again, it's a great area to film, and it helps out that local economy.
I suspect that you may have gotten some of the fleeing North Carolina traffic because North Carolina was like that for a while. I mean, it wasn't all within a 10-mile area, but you can pretty much get anything you need in the state. But then our governor was a big poo head, and the film industry rightfully said, nah, bro, no, not cool, and picked up and left.
Once again, you came up with a better adjective than I did. One more time.
It's a big old corn head.
Big old poo head.
Yep.
Man. Or wait, I guess that's a noun, isn't it? Oh, shoot. See, I don't know how adjectives work. What's wrong with me?
So words are things that we use to convey ideas and thoughts.
Yes.
And they're broken into several different groups.
I see.
That's something that they generally teach in high school, right? Go over what nouns and adjectives are in high school.
If I paid
wouldn't know.
attention in high school, I probably would have known.
Yeah, fair enough. Yeah, I had in my junior year of English class, there was a huge debate over what exactly a gerund was.
And it is.
Oh goodness, I can't remember. I think
You remember having the debate, but you don't.
I wasn't part of it. It's like a verb that
But it can also function as a noun or
something,
right?
Something like that, I think. I don't know.
It's basically, I do know that it's a verb that functions at, or it can function as another type of thing.
Yes. That sounds right.
I think it's like, I could be wrong, but I think a lot of them are like ing words.
Okay.
Yes.
Like, yeah. Yeah.
Like,
I'm looking it up real quick.
Nice.
Yes. Okay. Yes. Okay. So real quick, it is a verb that can also act as a noun. Often ing words, like playing on computers is fun because the ing clause is the subject there, the playing.
oh yeah, okay. All right. That makes sense.
So interesting. Okay. There you go. There's Jerry.
Colin Parker, Googler extraordinaire.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. I'm very good at hitting up that Google. Okay, Google, how do I make friends? And they're like, stop asking me because I'm not one to you. And you're like, okay, got me again, Google. Got me again.
that goofy Google person. So the high school that they filmed this movie at is, I forget what the name that they used in the movie, but the actual name of the actual high school is Riverdale.
Oh my God.
Which is just
I didn't know that.
Fantastic. That makes me very happy.
It's very good.
A little crossover there.
Right?
It's very good.
We should get David from Macintosh and Mod back on.
Yes.
To talk about Riverdale. Mm-hmm. Anyway, so that's pretty much all that I could find in terms of research on this movie.
Aww.
The one thing that I do want to share about 22 Jump Street is the email that Channing Tatum sent out after its success. Because, holy crap. It's something else. Give me 2 seconds. I did not save the whole thing, and I should have.
Oh, are you talking about the line where he says, we got the whole Kate Blanchett and everything?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, that's, if you haven't seen, I don't want to spoil it, but like, if you haven't seen 22 Jump Street, that is a joke from the movie. Because they talk about, and like, something that this movie does, or this movie series does very well, is being meta without like totally jumping the shark on it.
Mm-hmm.
because they do a lot of things about like talking about budgets, right? And they're like, well, you can't do that. We don't have the budget for it. But what they're saying is that the police department doesn't have the budget for it. But the joke, of course, is more of like the film can't possibly shoot that sort of scene because that would exceed their budget. And so at one point, someone says you can't go carte blanche with the budget, right? Like you have to like be careful with how you do stuff. And so then when he's trying to seem smart later, Channing Tatum's character Janko is talking about stuff, and he's like, "Yeah, I mean, we got Cate Blanchett and everything on the budget." And they're like, "What?" And he goes, and like he's trying so hard, and they're like, "Do you mean carte blanche?" And he's like, "I mean, look, man, I don't know what they're talking about. I just thought Cate Blanchett was going to be here or something like that." I can't remember his response, but it is unbelievably funny because like he just can't say the right term. Once again, him being like the quote unquote dumb jock. Sorry. Whoa. That was a slip of the tongue there. But like he's kind of like for lack of a better term, like kind of the bronze of the duo. And it just shows in stuff like that. It's just a really good duo.
It is. And I definitely want to talk more about like how they work together and the like all of that in just a minute. But this email he sent out,
yes,
in all caps, F you, Ted, space, exclamation point, exclamation point, exclamation point, exclamation point. Second of all with 4 L's. Time with 5 M's. Biatch. Come on, Jump Streeters, we got Cate Blanchett with this box office bitches. And then it is easily 4 pages of just ha 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 ha. Just repeated over and over again.
It is. It's a lot.
And the site that I just pulled it up on trimmed it.
Yeah.
It's just a lot, and it is hilarious to me. I just love that like level of excitement, and the fact that he emailed the producers and his co-stars and just everyone involved with the movie in such an excited and supportive way.
I love that kind of genuine excitement. We were watching this year's WrestleMania, and John Cena was like in the ring and like just talking like in a very heartfelt way about how excited he was, and I got choked up because he was just so excited.
Yep.
Okay, not to derail this whole thing, but I once went to a live wrestling event, and I remember being like, I don't get the hype about John Cena at all. And then Kevin Owens walked out and was like talking some shit. This is before he was officially on the WWE roster. And I was like, who the hell is this guy? I was like, I didn't come to see this guy. I came here to see Randy Orton. I want to see the Viper Strike. But of course, Randy Orton was not there that night. But basically he was talking and he was like, look, he's like, if you know me, then like this message is for you. And then he was like, and if you don't know who I am, then honestly, you're not worth my time. Like you're worthless. And everyone was like, oh, boo. And so then John Cena came out, and John Cena was like, I hear you talking trash and all this other stuff. And it was genius because it was in Norfolk. So you're already near a naval base. But he's like, how dare you turn to these people and tell them that they're worthless, right? Or not worth your time. He's like, no one in this world is ever not worth your time, right? He's like, no one is worthless. And I was like, oh, shit. Oh, my God, this man. Like, he was giving this empowering speech. And he's like, are you going to say that to that little boy who is holding up your sign? Or what about the guy holding up a sign for, not Dolph Ziggler, for Dolph Ziggler, right?
Yeah.
That's his name?
Yeah.
Okay. For one second, I was getting Dolph Ziggler and Dolph Lundgren mixed up.
I do that all the time.
I do it all the time, too.
All the time.
And then he's talking and he's pointing to different people. It's like, or the little girl who just beat cancer and she's here to, to celebrate this person. She goes, and finally he's like, and what about our men and women in service who they'd already kind of shown on the screen once, but he points to their section and they put them up on the big screen. And they were like, they stood up and they were like, Cena, Cena. And everyone started like chanting. And for once, when he first walked out, it was Cena sucks. And then it became Cena rocks. And I was like, this guy is the best thing that's ever happened to me. And I was like, what is happening right now? Like my life, completely got flipped upside down. And it was just so crazy how like 5 minutes before that I was like, I don't get the hype about John Cena. And suddenly I was like, this man can do no wrong. It's crazy.
That is fantastic. We just went to our first live wrestling event earlier this year, and it was
great.
just
I got to
incredible.
say, even if you're not a wrestling fan, I suggest going to one because whether you know it's fake or whether you're a kid and you think it's real or whatever, well, you know what I mean? Like, obviously, like, certain bits of it are real, but, like, you know, you have to be safe. So there has to be certain things that are, some punches that are barred, you know? But there's this stuff that's happening that, like, it is electric to be in that room.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There are few events like it. Like, I've been to rock shows that have had less energy in the room than wrestling shows.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's
Super
very
fair.
accurate. So let's get into the kind of the breakdown of this movie. It is, like I said earlier, it's very fun. I'm not going to say it's the most complex or deep movie out there.
Oh, no, for sure.
Yeah. But it doesn't present itself like it's supposed to be.
That's very true. It has a very tongue-in-cheek feel to it, while also, like you said, kind of getting meta and I don't know, just doing a good job of what it's set out to do. I think
Exactly.
one of my favorite meta bits was at the very beginning when Nick Offerman's character was talking to them and telling them about the 21 Jump Street program, and that the bigwigs were all out of new ideas and were just recreating stuff, programs from the 80s.
Right.
And that was just so, I don't know, I think that line itself sold me on this movie.
And he's such a perfect casting for that. I mean, like, you know, Ron Swanson and this character are wildly similar, although Ron Swanson would never be a cop. But, like, the general demeanor is just, I mean, Nick Offerman has the best deadpan delivery of any actor I have ever seen.
Yeah.
It is incredible.
Yeah.
That scene.
I love Nick Offerman so much. And that's another thing. This movie has a great cast.
Yeah, I think I audibly squealed several times when I figured out like, I was like,
Yeah.
Nick Offerman.
Like, we have Nick Offerman, Ice Cube, Rob Riggle, Chris Parnell, Ellie Kemper, Jake Johnson, Dave Franco, Brie Larson. Any other big ones?
I'm trying to think if there's anyone else that's like really huge. I mean, like, some people might know Dax Flame, but
Yeah.
it kind of depends on like what your personal brand of like comedy and stuff like that is. But like, you know, those are all like the big names.
Yeah.
Spoiler, Johnny Depp as well.
Yeah.
And the
Yes.
other guy that I never learned the name of.
From the original TV show? Yeah. I
Yeah.
can't remember his name either.
My bad.
Peter DeLuise.
There we go.
Yeah.
There we go. And yeah, that reveal was
That was so well
amazing.
executed.
Very well done. And like, it's also great because it was an uncredited one, cameo, which is smart because then they didn't have to, what's the word for it? They didn't have to sort of notify people ahead of time. Because a lot of the times you look at like casting lists and you go, oh, well, they're in the movie, so we can expect it. But because they were willing to do it uncredited, it became like, it was literally a thing of like, when you're seeing it for the first time, before people got online to spoil it, you're sitting there and all of a sudden you're like, oh shit, that's Johnny Depp and the other guy, you know, Peter DeLuise. But like, if you didn't know the show, you're like, oh yeah, that's interesting. These are the two guys from the show.
Yeah.
yeah.
What a weird coincidence.
Yeah, I think it was very well done, that particular like reveal. And I guess another thing that I really loved about this movie was the foreshadowing.
Yes.
So the first line, spoilers, first line of Johnny Depp's character is, if these guys are cops, I'm DEA. And then it turns out that that's exactly who he is.
Right.
The first time that we see Rob Riggle's character was right after the two had tried the drug that they're trying to bust.
HFS. Holy fucking shit.
Holy fucking shit. But it's like they try it and they comment that it tastes like barbecue Cool Ranch. And then every single scene that we see Rob Riggle in after that, he is eating Cool Ranch Doritos.
Oh my God. I didn't even notice that.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my God.
Right? And so like I just think it's very clever foreshadowing. It's something that like they didn't have to do, but they did, and that's awesome.
Right. And I like the fact that like it's like them sort of, they're hiding it in plain sight, but they don't beat you over the head with it, which
Right.
like sometimes there are movies where I go, I couldn't see that happening at all. I feel like you just like wanted it to be this character that does it. Then there are movies where you're like, okay, like 10 minutes in, you're like, okay, so he did it. And then there's a whole 2-hour adventure. And then at the very end, they're like, but it was this guy. And you're like, okay, yeah, that's what I said. Okay, cool. You know, but like this was definitely like, it was still somewhat surprising. And then when you go back, you're like, oh my God, how did I not notice this or this or this?
Yeah. I
That's the
love
fun
when a
thing
movie
about
can do that. And I think they did a real good job of that here.
Yeah.
One of my favorite jokes in this movie was the stuff not blowing up
Yeah.
when it was supposed to. And there was a great car chase where they run into they destroy a couple of vehicles that have
Flammable
very
vehicles.
flammable and explosive
Right.
things on them, and they don't explode. And then someone collides with a truck moving a bunch of chickens, and that explodes.
Yeah.
And it's
Poor chicken.
those poor chickens, but it's absolutely hilarious. And the sort of I think that's a good example of this movie's kind of approach.
Yeah.
Right. And just like you said, like, because like stuff, but not only does it not blow up, but they also even address it where like he's shooting at something and like, you know, there's this huge crash and goes, oh my God, I can't believe that didn't blow up.
Yeah.
And like they just keep moving. And they're like, oh, that's so crazy. Like usually you expect that sort of thing to happen. Like that sort of like mentality. They're like, that's weird. But then they keep moving on. And then like when something actually does blow up, they're kind of like, whoa, because then they're even taken by surprise by it. I don't know. I just feel like so many movies, like for example, like Guardians of the Galaxy. Now, and see, this is, I guess, maybe sort of a different thing here because I'm about to talk about a sequel versus an original. But in Guardians of the Galaxy 2, a lot of that comedy is really forced, and it's a lot of, hey, we made a funny movie last time and people really liked it, so I mean, I guess we could definitely do that again. But then it's a lot of like trying to be funny like on purpose as opposed to just sort of like letting it naturally be funny. 21 and 22 Jump Street are just like naturally funny though. Like they really don't try to beat the comedy into you. It is just sort of, you know, and I think that every joke in that movie is written for somebody.
Yeah.
You know, but it doesn't necessarily mean that you have to laugh at every single joke. Like there are definitely some jokes where I'm just sort of like, okay, I get it. And then there are some jokes that like I have like cried, I've laughed so hard at. So I think, you know, they really know how to just bring it all home. And again, not just beat you over the head with everything, which I think is a good sign of, which is a sign of good writing though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, I would agree to that.
It takes a nuanced touch
Yeah.
to accomplish that.
For sure.
So what, Colin, what is if you had to pick one favorite joke in this movie, what would it be?
That is such a hard question. And I knew it was coming. And I've been thinking about this ever since the moment that you asked me, what is your, like, because for me, it's just the same sort of answer as like when someone says, what are your top 5 movies? I'm always like, well, kind of depends on the day. Like day to day,
Yep.
I feel like my top 5 changes.
Absolutely.
And even for this movie, because like, one of the funniest moments to me is when they're sitting in Ice Cube's office and they're both just trying to act natural. And of course it's going not very well. And he's sitting there slowly looking back and forth between the two of them. And he goes, y'all two throwing a party? And they're like, whoa, who said anything about a party? And he goes, there's rumors in the Twitter sphere, which is, I don't know why that whole scene back and forth is so funny, but like it makes me laugh every time watching Ice Cube eat a sandwich and just pick these two apart just with his eyes and then say the word Twitter sphere is very funny to me. But then like on other days, I do laugh at like the ongoing joke of whenever they're talking about like things like a piñata, they go, is that some sort of weird sex thing? Or Chris Parnell doing the, just do it better and cooler and funnier and greater and just better. Chris Parnell is just a delight.
He is.
Yeah.
And I would say maybe, again, it's so hard to narrow things down. I guess I just gave you 3, so I'm going to be very quick and just give you a top 5
Awesome.
as of today. One of the other top 5s is when he's like, I can't believe this. I trusted you. And he's like, I'm going to rip off this friendship bracelet. He's like, I bought you Taco Bell. That's that whole little thing. And he can't get it off. And he's like trying to bite it off and goes, I'm going to cut this shit off when I get home. That whole scene is also great. And then top 5. Okay. I've narrowed it down to 2 more. I think my last top 5 moment of this movie would be when he punches the kid because he's trying to seem cool.
Oh my God.
And then he's like, did you punch me because I'm gay? He's like, whoa, I didn't know he was gay. And he's like, that's homophobic. He's like, actually, if you think about it, it would be homophobic for him to not punch him because he's gay. Like, that whole scene is so good because they've already dug a hole for themselves and they're immediately trying to like, oh, we got to dig ourselves out of this. And the fact that like they can't even be there for like a minute without almost messing the entire thing up is again just a perfect representation of them in that movie.
Yeah, I think those are all very, very good selections.
Yeah.
I personally loved the Channing Tatum's character Janko goes meets the sciencey nerdy kids for the first time, and they are dealing Bakugan, the game, and he thinks that is some sort of drug thing. I don't know why I find that so funny, but I do. I love it.
Personally, I love the feud that they have in the middle of the Peter Pan show.
Yes. Oh God.
Oh. Yeah.
That's also so good.
Yeah, that was really well done. The stage hands moving Jonah Hill up, having him fly out of the way.
Yeah.
And Channing Tatum's just run, jump, leaping catch of him is
It's so great.
phenomenal.
And see, but that's the thing. It's again, they're so good at having character development and also having comedy, not just from start to finish, but there's even in the serious moments, there's some sort of joke. These are people who, have sort of there's a lot of character development and a lot of true raw emotions happening in this one moment. And you really see the moment where I think they're kind of starting to this is going to be the thing that pushes them over the top and makes them really understand, no, we have to be together on this sort of thing. Mm-hmm. And yet, even throughout all of that seriousness and this this major fight, like you said, there's all this comedy from him throwing a rock at him that's not a real rock, and it's just, and the tackle. I mean, again, it's all this silly stuff that's happening even during the seriousness, but it doesn't take away from it.
Yeah, yeah.
So.
I will say there's a couple of things that did bother me a little bit about this movie.
Okay.
Namely the romance.
Yeah. I didn't feel good about that.
There's a romantic subplot with Jonah Hill's character and a high schooler.
Yeah, that part's a little weird. I the only thing that redeems that to me is and again, this is a stretch even. But I mean they're 4 or 5 years out of high school.
Yeah.
Themselves, and she is a senior, which could mean that she's 18.
Yeah.
But
I
at the same
raised that
time,
as
she's
well.
still in high school.
Right.
Yeah. But, like, they don't explicitly say that she
Right.
is 18.
Right.
Like, I didn't turn 18 until I was 4 weeks into college.
Right. Some people do have, like, a late birthday.
Yeah.
So and, like, that part is definitely a very weird spot, which is, I think, probably the reason why, like, there is, like, a subplot there, but, like, they only really kind of, like, here's a little stinger on it at the very end, and then it's like, okay, we're wiping our hands of it to pretend that maybe it didn't happen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's very strange.
And also the Ellie Kemper totally having the hots for Channing Tatum, which, I mean, he's a good-looking dude.
Yes.
He is. Yeah.
But that whole thing of a teacher going hard after someone she thinks is a student is a bit wonky as well.
Yeah, and like, you know, I'm not trying to be like, what's it called, like the devil's advocate, because it's that thing of like, okay, I'll put it like this. If they were actually high schoolers, one of them wouldn't be a problem and the other one would. But then on the reality, that makes the other one a problem and the other one not. Because like, yes, she thinks that he's a high schooler, but like he clearly isn't. So it's like, there's this sub thing of like, in your head, it's like, you see him as a high schooler, but like, do you see him as an adult? Because he is a hulking giant dude who, it's like, it is a little weird that he is somehow in high school. But then, you know, because then it's like, oh, so those feelings were warranted. Oh, but what does that say about me? Because I was still feeling those when they were unwarranted. You know, it is definitely they get kind of into some weird romantic gray area. And I think that's probably the reason why they choose to move to college in the second film, because I think there is a definite thing of like, there's some real uncomfortable stuff with having the typical comedy romance when someone's not in high school and pretending to be.
Yeah.
So it definitely feels like they learned the lesson, but I totally agree that those moments are not great.
Yeah. And to backtrack a little bit, to a joke, another joke that I enjoy ties into what you were just talking about, is when Dave Franco is talking to them and says that Channing Tatum looks like he's 40 years old. Because, like, and this is a thing with really any movies about high schools, like, they generally hire people who only barely look like they
That's
should
so
be in high
true.
school.
That is very true. It's the one reason why I feel like the most recent Spider-Man is finally actually accurate, because like he was 19 playing a 16-year-old kid, and now he's 21 playing a 17-year-old kid. But still, like it's that thing of you know, he actually looked like he was young, as opposed to Tobey Maguire's like 36-year-old ass trying to be like half his age. It's like he doesn't look. He looks like he should be teaching the high schoolers.
Yeah.
Right.
And he's like, "Oh no, I'm 17." You're like, "No, no, you're really not, buddy."
Yeah.
Acting can only take you so far.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, that is a very good like meta joke
Yeah.
about like the industry and how it works.
So let's get into some of the tropes in this movie. There's a bunch.
Yes.
I'm honestly interested to, like, if I were to really go through it, see how many are there more high school tropes in this movie than there were in Not Another Teen Movie?
There might be.
Because there's just a whole bunch.
Yes.
It is an affectionate parody. There's Chekhov's skill.
Yes.
Where in one scene we see Jenko learning about covalent bonds, and then that comes up later when he sciences and makes a thing explode, which is just fantastic. He puts a couple of batteries in a bottle of tequila and throws it beautifully into a 3-deep limousine chase scene.
Right.
Which is in and of itself is fantastic. And yeah, he uses that science to explode the limousine, and it's great. But yeah, that's a good trope that we have.
Yeah.
And see, even with that, there's another great trope within that moment of like, I mean, I guess it's a archetypal trope kind of thing of like the dumb jock, right? Because even though he's learned something, he is still at the core heart of it a dumb jock, right? Because he's like, he says, "Are you trying to say that we're the atoms?" I goes, "What? Nah, man, we're not made of atoms." Right?
Yeah.
It's like that. He's like, "No, I'm trying to say." He's like, "You know what I'm trying to say, but like we're not made of atoms." And then he does a perfect throw. You know what I mean? So it's like he says something stupid and then has an athletic moment, which also I think to me just again is like they have a lot of character archetypes in this movie that they really try to hammer into you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The asshole boyfriend.
Yep.
Hipsters.
Yep.
I mean, I feel like in any high school movie nowadays, there's a hipster like squad, where you wouldn't have that in like maybe the 90s because hipsters weren't really a thing
Right.
back then. So like nowadays, it's like you have to have a hipster if there's a.
It's refreshing to see that they've like updated the high school tropes to go with like current high schools. I think because like if it was a movie that was made in the 90s, it wouldn't make sense to have hipsters. But if it was being made in the aughts, it wouldn't make sense if it didn't have certain tropes. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
To sort of piggyback though off of what you said about like seeing like the changing high school tropes and stuff like that, it is funny to see that in the 90s, a movie about like high school, the drama kids would be the geeks, or like the undesirables. But in this movie, the geeks were really like the not comedy, the drama kids those were the cool kids. Those were the kids you wanted to hang out with. And it's like, why wasn't that the case when I was in high school? Because if so, I would have been totally cool.
Same.
It was not. Nope. I still wouldn't have been cool.
I was only half cool for the last half of my senior year. And I was sort of like, why couldn't this have been my whole life? Because things were so much easier during that last semester of high school. And I was like, is this what the rest of you had it like? That sucks.
Yeah. I was named an honorary drama kid after like my third time going to drama club, but not actually like doing anything because I was kind of half dating one of the people in drama club, and then I stopped going after we parted ways.
So you're saying that didn't work out?
It didn't work out. Yeah, no.
You're available?
So you're saying you're available?
Yeah, I am. Yes, indeed. Yeah, so I didn't really fall into any cliques or anything in high school because that would have involved what's that word? Friends. So yeah, that wasn't really my bag.
Right.
Instead,
and I guess cliques in general, though, there are cliques in this movie too. I mean, not just like with the drama kids, but like you do see kids actually kind of sticking to certain groups, and like the nerdy kids.
Yep.
Staying after school and just doing science experiments just because they can, is like something that I really don't think I've ever seen in any actual school, except for like maybe college kids. But then even then it's like, well, I have this theory and like if I can prove it, then that's my graduate program, handed to me in a basket sort of thing, But like I've never seen kids stay after school and be like, can we just mess around with chemicals? Like that's usually the fastest way to get in trouble for like having a meth lab. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, it seems to me that these kids kind of ran wild an awful lot.
A little bit.
Yeah.
Especially considering they painstakingly set up this whole like hall pass system thing very early in and then only play on it once.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was they only play on it just for them to then get high and have to try to explain it.
Yeah.
Right.
For him to be like, nope, put your mouth back in put your tongue back in your mouth. I don't like that. Well, that's actually pretty good. You can keep doing that, but you better stop that.
I did like the different stages of the effects of HFS.
Yes.
And the way that they presented those. I thought that was very funny.
That was definitely very good. Yeah.
Especially when it comes back at the end when Brie Larson's character is tripping off of it.
Yes.
And challenges the drug dealers. It's great. It's great.
Yeah.
And see, now I'm pulling a Colin, and when I'm trying to think of any tropes, they're just right out of my head.
Yeah, and again, like that's I have this issue where I'm like, I'm always prepared, and then someone says, so what are your thoughts? And I go, my what now? You go, thoughts? And you're like, I don't have those. And everyone just sort of looks at you like, okay, sure. Well, we'll come back to you. And then they never do. Let's see, other tropes that are in this movie. I mean, like, I don't know necessarily what you would call it, but I mean, like, it's almost every comedy movie has to have some sort of love interest.
Right.
You know what I mean? Wait, did we already say that?
No. We didn't really go in depth into that as a trope.
Yeah. But I mean, like, and especially for like high school, like, there's always got to be some sort of main character that like gets the girl.
Right.
And it's never like, well, that's not true. I guess there are movies where it's like the girl gets the guy, but like very frequently we have to find ourselves having a guy get the girl.
Yeah.
I think there's another, like, and this isn't necessarily a trope, but it is sort of like a stereotype in a way, of gym teachers being not great people.
Yeah.
Every TV show or movie out there makes gym teachers out to be just these horrible, horrible people. Or idiots or something, or some sort of combination of the two.
Mm-hmm.
Like Mr. Woodcock, you know, it's like a huge, is a huge example. I can't say that movie without thinking about Griffin McElroy, like, losing his shit over that movie. Like, it immediately pops into my head.
Yeah.
Him just, like, cry laughing about
But
that
like
movie.
realsies, there was a substitute teacher in my high school named Mr. Woodcock, and he was bullied so much because of it that he legally changed his name. But then
So
made
hard dick?
it's a first name as a last name, but I don't want to say both of his names.
That's
People
fair.
could look him up.
That's
But
fair.
like
Right.
he made the mistake of coming in and everybody was like, "Oh, it's Mr. Woodcock. Hey." And he was like, "Actually, my name is this now, but you can still call me that." And we're like,
Why
would
What's
you
the
give
point
us
of changing
that power?
it?
I don't get what the point is of changing your name then.
Don't
I think
give
you've-
the
I think
students
you've
that
missed it out,
choice.
bud.
That's
Yeah.
crazy.
Yeah. I hope he's doing okay.
One trope that we have is the massive party.
Yes.
And I love that it also had the parents coming home in the middle of it with like the understanding that like this is a weird situation, right? Like it's atypical because they're undercover cops and they like the parents know that, but
Right.
like
And yet they still get in trouble.
Yes.
it's
Which is so good.
so good.
There's also, oh shoot, hang on, give me 5 seconds. Because something that you just told me, or just said out loud rather, reminded me of one of the funniest lines in the whole movie. And I don't know how I didn't remember it earlier. Because this might actually be my favorite line in the movie. When they're getting ready for the party, right? He says to him, like at first they freak out. They're like, "Oh my God, how are we going to get booze?" Like, I don't know. I don't have a fake. And then they both just start laughing and high-fiving because they're clearly over 21. And then when they're in the lockup, he holds up a brick of cocaine and he says, and he goes, "No," he's like, "We're not trying to kill him. We're trying to show him a good time." And then he picks up a brick of weed. He goes, "Yes." But like the fact that he holds up the cocaine and like that second line of like, "We're not trying to kill him. We're trying to show him a good time." Like, I don't know why that line gets me every time, but it really does.
I loved that whole, I mean, just like the whole party planning montage.
Yeah.
I think was really great. And I also loved the idea that, that Jonah Hill's character's mom, and this is not really related to the party aspect of it, but like was telling everyone that he was an undercover cop.
Yes.
Yes. I don't know why that is so good, but he's like, "Mom." He's like freaking out about it. It is so, holy shit. Okay. Again, people keep saying things and it reminds me of something else. I've realized that I've made a grave error.
Uh-oh.
I have told you a million funny moments of this movie. And yet,
Left one out.
no, I left out what is the clear winner.
Aha.
How could I possibly forget this scene? It is when Jonah Hill is done with his first meeting and he's not sure what to do. And he goes out into the sanctuary of where 21 Jump Street is secretly hidden. And he starts to pray and he doesn't know what to do. And then finally goes, I don't know, the end. I don't know how to finish this. Channing Tatum starts laughing. And finally, Ice Cube comes back and goes, hey, Stop bothering Korean Jesus. He ain't got time for your bullshit. He's busy with Korean stuff. That is one of the funniest sentences that has ever been said in a movie. Not only, don't mess with Korean Jesus, he's busy with Korean shit. That is, again, there we go. That's my final answer. We got there. We figured it out.
Yes.
Congratulations all.
The Korean Jesus bit
I did enjoy that quite
was
a bit.
very good, and I loved the payoff at the end when they're doing the blip vert of just like the shot after like very quick succession of shots at the credits, where like you do see someone dressed as Korean Jesus very quickly, and it is
I missed that.
very funny. It's just a great payoff.
It's very
For
good.
sure.
A trope, Wilhelm scream.
Oh yes, we got some good
Yes.
Wilhelm scream in this.
Yes.
There's two, I think, right? I think one when someone goes out a window, and then another one when one of the crash scenes during the car chase.
When the motorcycle is sliding under the chicken truck.
Yes.
you
Yes,
hear
yes.
one of them. I do love a good Wilhelm scream. I am a nerd and maybe have.
What?
It's true, I am.
So you're saying you're available?
So I maybe have found and watched the Wilhelm scream like original video, which was a guy acting like he was being eaten by a crocodile.
Oh my god.
Oh my gosh.
And like screamed several times, and those like the 5-6 screams taken from that are the things that are considered the different Wilhelm screams. It's pretty great.
That sounds pretty great.
I'm a huge nerd.
What? Doubling back, I enjoy the trope of the kid who was a loser in high school has a mom who celebrates every single thing they do.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, that was so good. Also, the pictures that they use, particularly the naked baby picture of Jonah Hill's character.
I look like I died in a car crash and you never quite got over it.
So that's actually a Jonah Hill baby picture.
Oh, God bless.
Oh, is it really? That's fantastic.
Yes, which is just glorious.
That's really great.
The like wrist strap thing he had on, and it's
The whole thing. The whole photo. It's something else.
Slow motion in an action film.
Yes.
Considered
Yes.
one?
Yes,
Yeah.
definitely.
Yes.
When they get out of the limousine and there's slow motion and the doves are flying around and shit.
Oh God, that's so good. And that's
Yeah.
another good what's the name of that trope? A brick joke.
Brick joke,
Where
yes.
they like set it up and it pays off later. Because like
Yeah.
Jenko is talking about
Yeah, you have doves. It's cool.
the
Right.
right way to show up to prom is with all your guys and a bunch of doves. And then
I also feel like the fact that they have like a shootout in like the best outfit that they possibly can wear as well. Because like, you know, like there's that final payoff that's the big scene. It's not necessarily the big heist, but it's like the fact that it's like it's all leading up to prom. It's all leading up to this big, and it's like, you know, you have to have like, you can't just be out there in like, you know, civvy clothes, you know?
Yeah.
You gotta be dressed up in a fly suit. So
Just fly tux. Also, they had to take a break from getting ready for prom to do housework,
Yes.
yes, that's so good.
mowing the
Again,
yard.
that
in
thing
a
of like
tux.
they're in high school but they're not.
right.
Yes.
Like the
Yeah.
fact they had to do chores. Oh god, there's one other one. Oh, the jumping and shooting at the same time.
Yes.
Yes.
You ever fired your gun whilst jumping through the air?
Yeah.
It's just phenomenal.
I don't think I have any more tropes for this movie. I think I'm
Well, I
fresh
think
out.
we unintentionally covered a lot of them in discussing the plot of the movie itself.
that's
Yeah.
very true.
Just like it's a big old FU to the original show, but like
Right.
with love.
A very loving middle finger
Yes.
to the show.
Yeah.
It's very strange because like it feels like it's like this thing of like, you know, we understand that we're rebooting it and taking it in a totally different way because your show wasn't funny at all. But at the same time, like I have watched 21 Jump Street and like that show wasn't very good.
Yeah.
It was kind of unbearable. Even for there are other 80s shows that I can watch today and be like, oh, this held up. But 21 Jump Street as a TV show did not.
Yeah.
And so to me, it's kind of like, also in a way being like, we can take your old thing and like just sort of cradle it and make it anew, send it on its way.
Mm-hmm.
You told me a fact about Johnny Depp's cameo. I don't know if you wanted to share that on the podcast or not.
So yeah, Johnny Depp and
Peter DeLuise.
Peter DeLuise. Thank you.
Thanks.
Whew. Johnny Depp and Peter DeLuise were, and this is going to be a pretty big spoiler. So if you
literally haven't seen it yet, turn us off.
If you haven't already turned us off because of the things we've talked about, but they don't make it through the movie. But originally they were supposed to. And Johnny Depp was like, no, I will do this cameo only if you kill off this character for good.
Which is also weird because it's like the man can't, like, that's kind of what made him though.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's like, I mean, like, or like, that was sort of his first big break. So it's like, how can you not be a little bit more appreciative of what made you?
Well, but we also discussed, like, Tom Hanks' major first credited role was Mazes and Monsters. And you never hear him talk about it ever. And I think there's a reason.
It's because it's a terrible movie.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, I that's very true. I feel like a lot of people always talk about like Big as being his first real like breakout, but like that's true. That was just his breakout. Doesn't mean that was his first big break.
Pun intended.
So. Oh shoot! Yep, I guess I did. Dang it!
I think maybe it's a commentary on artists developing over the years.
That's fair. That's fair. And not as a super spoiler, but if you wait till the end of the credits. Or is it in the middle of the credits? They also have a scene where, and I can't tell if this was like just a joke or if they only kept it in to show like, oh, Johnny Depp asked us for this favor, but we're not really going to keep it. They show them, again, spoilers, like dead and like being bled out. And then they sort of like open their eyes and sort of wake up and he's like, oh, I guess we're not actually dead. And he's like, you want to go? And I forgot what he says. I think it's like, do you want to get tacos or something like that? He asked him if he wants to get some sort of food and he's like, okay. And then they both sit up and they get up and leave because all the shooting and stuff has been done out. But like they both thought they were going to die, but then they're like, oh, that's awkward. I'm still here. Well, I don't know, tacos or something. Mm-hmm. I'll have to look up what he actually says, but he's like, you want to get tacos? And he's like, okay.
Yeah, it was it was very, very funny and another, unexpected twist.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I think that's about all that we've got.
Yeah, I think that's it.
Colin, thank you so much for being on today. We had a blast.
Thanks for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Where can our listeners find you if they want to stalk you on social media?
For sure. If you want to stalk me, you can find me at Colin, COLINM, as in Matthew Parker, PARKER, on both Instagram and Twitter. You can find me at ScavengersNet on Twitter and Scavengers Network on Facebook and Instagram. I am pretty heavily involved in most of the stuff there. Even if I'm not on it, I'm there helping. As Jordan Reed calls me, I am the pod boss. The big baby pod boss. Wait, what is it? Big baby boy pod boss or something like that. So I'm kind of always around. I'm always there. We got a lot of great shows over there, whether it's my shows or other people's. So be sure to come check us out. And I'll say that, again, just to kind of bring back Myth Takes, I would say that's the show of mine, or that I'm on, that I would probably plug the most. Because I get to work with everybody on the network on that show.
It's real fun.
Thank you.
All right, yeah. I gotta second that. I mean, really, all of the shows. I haven't listened to a show on the network yet that I have not thoroughly enjoyed.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
You got a lot of great talent on that network. So
just good people.
Good people.
It really is. And again, I think it's the fact that we found all of each other through the fan podcasters, Bim Bambino podcasters group.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think so. A lot of like-minded individuals who are good people.
Good peeps.
As always, for us, you can find us on iTunes, Podbean, YouTube, wherever you find your finer podcasts.
You can find us on Instagram and Twitter at Subverted Tropes. And if you want to send us a real live email, you can send it to subvertedtropecast@gmail.com.
Kate, as always, does some amazing work on our blog, subvertedtropecast.wordpress.com. And we'd like to take a second and thank Gracie Bolland for our fantastic logo. You can find her on Instagram and YouTube at A Modern Unicorn.
I think that's all we got.
Well, everyone, thanks so much for listening. Colin, again, thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
All right.
Yay!
Bye.
Bye.